At 4 a.m. on February 25th, 2022, a 36-year-old father of three named Christopher Boudram woke up inside of his modest home in Pointe-à-Pierre, which is a city on the Caribbean island of Trinidad and Tobago. Christopher was a professional scuba diver. Christopher had been fortunate enough to be working for a company. It was an oil and gas company called Perea Fuel. And Christopher's duties centered primarily on the upkeep and maintenance of several of these underwater pipelines. These underwater pipelines, they had these two vertical sections on either end. Christopher and his diving colleagues would be doing some maintenance on one of these underwater pipelines. It was called Berth number 6. This one had not been active since 2018. So they put it into a sort of storage mode where the vertical section that was closest to shore was first plugged up, and then they submerged this section underwater. And then they put something called a habitat on top of the opening. So imagine you're in the bathtub and you have a bucket and you flip it upside down and you just take the bucket and push it into the water. That air pocket inside of the bucket will remain. That's what this habitat was. The four other divers, their names were Kazim Ali Jr., Yusuf Henry, Faisal Kurban, and Rishi Nagasar. Once their boat had moved just off the coast, the divers hopped off the boat and they swam straight down and they entered into this breathable airspace right around the entrance to this pipe. They just needed to basically pull a lever that would then deflate the big inflatable plug. The second that lever was activated, it broke the seal. The high pressure air in the habitat expanded down into the pipe. And so these five men went from just standing outside the pipe to feet first flying into this pipe. And by some miracle, there was a small air pocket where they stopped. All five of them are alive. The only way these guys could move in this tight little pipe is just by pushing with their heels. And then Christopher in the lead began kind of going in reverse. Only Christopher and the guy right below him, Faisal, were willing and physically able. Christopher above him, he felt scuba tanks, two of them. And so both men suddenly had an air tank. They continued to inch along. After hours of doing that, Faisal starts to kind of lose it. He told Faisal that I'm going to get us help, and he inched his way closer and closer to the entrance of this pipe until he popped up. Two rescue divers pulled Christopher out of the pipe and they saved him. Ultimately, the authorities decided it was not safe to send rescuers down into this pipe. For 2 whole days, the 4 other divers remained trapped and they continued to bang on the pipe. On February 27th, the noises stopped because all of the men died. Christopher and many other people, they believe the 4 deaths are directly attributable to Perea Fuel for not allowing a rescue operation to happen in those first 2 days where you could clearly hear the sounds of these divers banging on the pipe.